Steve from SI, Staten Island, I guess, from Legends of the Ring Forum. What is missing in your mind from the TNA product?
You know, I think what was missing from the TNA product for a long time was that core of 30-something superstar talent. I think we had a lot of 40-plus, superstars, and then I think we had a lot of really promising 20-year-olds, but we didn't have that, that sweet spot that WWE just seemed to have so many big names in that group. And in the past 12 months, I look at how far we've come. Some of those 20-year-olds have really stepped up in my mind in the last 5 or 6 months, like an AJ Styles or Samoa Joe or some of them who have really started to come into their own. But also, to have a Rob Van Dam, to have a Mr. Anderson, to have a Jeff Hardy and the Pope, and the slew of other talent that we have that are there, and they're fighting champions and are really charismatic. That's something I think we've been missing that we have now. Excellent.
California Chris from the Legends of the Ring Forum. Why is there no TNA magazine? Damn it. He didn't write that. I just thought.
Well, I think, magazines are becoming obsolete. We talked about television and things such as that, and, they look great and they're slick and they're fun to have, but I just don't know if it's a good business decision, quite honestly. Internet's the way. Those of you who are in print here or who work in media know that that's newspapers, magazines are really struggling right now. And so, again, I think it's trying to keep ahead of the curve and come up with, whether it be an online magazine or what we're doing online, period, and we're trying to do some different things there.
Okay. Snoochie Boochies 666 from the board at F4W Online. Sounded cute until Satan jumped into the name there. Dixie, a UK fan here. If you could have any of these people in TNA, who would you pick and why? Steve Austin, The Rock, Goldberg, Triple H, The Undertaker, or Vince McMahon?
The Rock.
Who would you like the least?
I'd take any of them. I'd like to work with all those guys, actually. So no one the least.
I don't think Vince would take orders very well.
It'd be fun to try.
It would be fun to try, yeah.
Jason from Melbourne asks, what is TNA's relationship with other wrestling promotions, and which wrestling promotions do TNA have a working relationship with?
Well, that's one thing that I feel like we do a very, very good job of, and that's building relationships with a lot of independent organizations around the world. We work very closely with New Japan. Right now we're working with AAA, we've worked with CMLL, and we really, try to keep, our talent going over there and building them through their established brands and bases, and then finding other great talent out there to bring into TNA.
Very good. Carlos Hayin. TNA will be broadcast in Spain? He asks probably very much like that. TNA will be broadcast in Spain?
Yo quiero que sí. Muy pronto, pero ahora yo no sé exactamente cuándo.
Okay, soon though, probably, right?
That's what I said, I hope.
Yeah. Adam Krasnoff, as TNA's talent roster continually grows, do you ever see the company doing a brand split with 2 TV time slots? Because that works so well.
Yeah. I think that we have enough to do to build one big brand, and I think the most important thing for us is to get additional programming. That's something that we need to build our brand. In places around the world where we're having so much success, we have multiple shows on. United States is the only place where we have one show.
Are they package shows?
No, we have a show called Explosion. We have an old library show where we package old footage of TNA. We have our pay-per-views over there. We have a show called Epics. We have Impact. So we have a variety of things that are driving and building the TNA fan base. We're in desperate need for that here. And we just announced our second show with Spike TV called Reaction. And it starts June, I'll get the date, like the third week in June.
What's the pitch? Give it to us. How is it different from Impact?
What it is it's going to be a deeper look behind the scenes at what's going on into a few of the storylines. It'll be more of a docudrama type of show. And it's really what we have, the genesis of Reaction is what we have taken pieces of, and you're starting to see some of that back in our backstage footage at Impact. So you'll see more of that and really get to know the characters more in depth when we have a little more time.
Benjamin asks, are you with TNA for the long haul, meaning forever?
Well, I will be here as long as they will let me. And I tell you what, I feel so blessed every day to have this job. And I'm having so much fun. It's a lot of work. There's a lot to do. But, you know, we're having some really good success. And I hope to be around for a while.
Rini? There you are. You're on, Rini. Some makeup. Hit the stage.
Hi. What I was wondering is, will TNA ever go public?
You know, I don't know. I think that we'll continue. We're very lucky to have investors that are very smart when it comes to decisions like that, and there are some definite benefits to being a privately held company. And I think that, you know, but we're also smart enough to explore different options and know when we're going to be ready for those. But, you know, we have conversations, you know, in relation to that and have through the, you know, past several years. So we'll see how it plays out.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Chris.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Chris.
It kind of follows on from the last question. How much would Vince have to offer you to sell the company?
I don't know. What do you think he'd take for his?
10 cents?
You know, I mean, I think that we're just as capable of raising funds and buying them as they are, you know, trying to do the same to us. And I don't think it would benefit anybody in this room if Vince McMahon were to try to buy TNA or Ring of Honor or anybody else that is out there spreading the greatness of wrestling.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any of the workers in the back, any questions for your boss? No reprisals. You can ask anything you want in this forum.
Rob Terry, I'll tell you, one of my greatest house show moments ever was in Cardiff, Wales, when he won the Global Championship. The BBC was there. It was, hey, Angelina, it was such a great night. I've never seen that kind of emotion, and it was as real as it gets. It was great.
Ray Luca from Illinois. Dear Miss Carter, how do you deal with the stress from running a wrestling promotion?
You know what? I just handle stress well. I look back on the times when we had no money and we didn't know how we were going to get by and didn't have television partners, and you know, those were stressful days. Mm-hmm. Today is not stressful. Today is fun compared to that. So we're in a good place.
Anthony Militek says, if one day TNA would ever go under, and I'm not saying it will, would you leave the wrestling business, invest in another company, go work for someone else?
I probably would not go to work for somebody else just because I've worked for myself or run a company for so long. But I would probably invest in another company and would love to stay involved in wrestling in some capacity.
Benjamin, do you have any regrets as far as TNA is concerned thus far?
Yeah, I think, you know, I look back and I don't want to armchair quarterback myself. I have enough of those, actually millions of them. You know, yeah, I think I look back and say, you know, I wish, you know, we would have tried something different, but at the time, I didn't have the information I was dealing with, you know, to make that decision later. So the best thing I can do is try to learn from it and not repeat it, and, you know, move on and do something better.
Benjamin also asks, where do you see TNA in the next year?
I think, you know, we have, you said, is this a global perspective that we take? It definitely is global because we have different goals and objectives globally versus domestically. Domestically, it's about more programming, growing Impact, getting it more established here. And internationally, it's continuing to grow, you know, the success that we're having both in the live events as well as the television ratings.
Very good. Aaron H., what is your opinion of the name of the company, TNA, Total Nonstop Action? Please explain the meaning of the phrase Total Nonstop Action. Could you also share your views on the initial TNA, whether you think it's classy, memorable, appropriate moniker for a wrestling company?
Well, the meaning of the phrase Total Nonstop Action is total nonstop action. And I think that you know, I didn't name the company. I think it's been an impactful name. I think it's been a memorable name. And, you know, I think it's at times we've been inconsistent in delivering the name of our company. And it's something that we are taking a very a very hard look at each and every week to make sure that that is what we are delivering and how we are trying to distinguish ourselves from our competitor.
Excellent. Jason from Melbourne, once again, do you think filming Impact and pay-per-views at the Impact Zone makes the show look very generic or have a cookie-cutter image?
You know, I wish, we're in the largest studio at Universal Studios, but it's still not as big as we need it to be. I would love it to be just a little bit bigger, and it would, come off better. But there's some definite benefits to that. I mean, we have sets that, that you wouldn't get if you're just touring and you're in a regular arena and dealing with just backstage kitchens and stuff like that. And we're literally are on a studio lot, so we have the ability to tap into that, and I think in the coming months you'll see us doing more so of that as well.
Hess. Costume change. What are you, Liza Minnelli? No. What's that for a reference?
My question is, during the construction of the lockdown steel cage, did you notice the steel bar or girder coming down, obstructing the hard camera's view?
What? Say that again now?
During the lockdown pay-per-view, the construction of the cage, did you notice the steel girder blocking the hard camera's view?
During the whole pay-per-view?
Yes.
Okay. It's a very large, heavy cage. I think it's like 4,000 pounds, and I did see that. We may look at making some changes. We had cut certain areas in there. It's very difficult in a cage match because you're usually seeing through it. That's why we use the overhead camera, if you notice on there, and then we cut through where you didn't actually have to see through that. But we'll take a look at that for you.
Thank you.
All right. Hess. Greg Pike, do you think TNA should start charging for tickets in Orlando?
I've never heard
wanna
anybody. Yeah, I was
pay?
about to say. No.
He's
I think,
loaded, Greg.
Yeah, I think that I think it's great to be able to, if the fans are going to have to travel to come see us, I think they should at least be able to get in there and see it for free.
Okay. Jason also asked, why are TNA fans at the Impact Zone considered extras in the show? Do you think they should be allowed to chant or display signs within reason of their choice? Is addressing them before a show, telling them this, an insult?
First, they're not considered extras.
I was going to say, who would call them
Jason
extras?
from Melbourne,
Oh, okay.
Australia, did. So Jason, no, they're not considered extras at all. And it's really interesting because, you would think you would have a lot of the same people coming every week. And, the one question I ask every single week, how many times, and you guys have been there, how many times is this your first time to see TNA Impact? Where are you from? How many are you from England? How many are you from Australia, Europe, and different places like that? And I'd say probably 90% of the people every week in there are new. And so it's a really good experience.
Sam from Delaware, hi Dixie, I truly do not mean to come across the wrong way because I know you were trying. How can you have a successful 2-hour wrestling program that only features 20 to 30 minutes of actual wrestling? Watching 2 hours of promos leaves the viewers disappointed and cheated, not to mention reluctant to watch again. I think you just kind of mentioned that by saying that you're
but I mean,
at the program.
He's looking at an hour and 20 minutes. I'm looking at 82 minutes of programming. And I think, like I said before, we've been inconsistent in how much action we've really delivered. And it's something that in this year, I think we've averaged close to 40 minutes of action out of 82 minutes a show. I think that's pretty good. I'm pretty confident that we have had more action than every other wrestling show on any given week. And I think there was a couple weeks back, we had more wrestling than all 3 shows combined of our competitors. So we're working on it. But I will say this, I mean, a lot of people like to see the action, but that our ratings don't necessarily reflect that that's people's favorite, the masses' favorite of what they like to watch. And those interview segments that a lot of the people on the internet in particular complain about are what, when I look at minute by minutes, that tells me what people are watching. And if those interview segments are way up there, then that's what I have to listen to. And so it's a delicate balance because we have to, if we know that the wrestling does not draw the kind of ratings, and it's probably the same for our competitor as well. If it doesn't draw, so we have to really work extra hard at making sure that product is going to be something that doesn't make you want to change the channel and is telling a story through the wrestling. And so we're working on that.
Steve from Staten Island, once again, Legends of the Ring Forum. What does she feel about the pacing of the show? It seems things happen way too fast and big matches are just thrown out there.
Do you guys think sometimes the show's too fast? There's a lot of stuff on there.
Well, it's total nonstop action.
See, and then if
for
you
God's
don't do it,
sakes.
you get criticized, and what are you going to do? No, but I think, again, you're dealing with 82 minutes of a show, and we have a roster full of talented people. But what we're going to come back here and talk again sometime, and people are going to complain, well, why aren't I seeing so-and-so on the show? To pace the show properly, and if you've been watching the last few weeks, you've been seeing fewer things on the show, fewer people on the show. It's not an indictment on those people, or they don't have a talent contract anymore, or it's not that TNA's not behind them. But what's happening is we're trying to slow the pace down of the show. We're trying to make it where it's more impactful where you're watching it. So it's not trying to jam so much. We only have that one show. Now with Reaction, we're going to be able to spread that out a little bit more, develop some things that we really haven't had time to do. And it's not that we don't know it's not, that it's not fast paced, but at the same time, when you've got 82 minutes and you're having to set up a pay-per-view and you want things to make sense on all levels, not just throw 4 out of the 8 matches in there that are completely out of thin air. It's a challenge.
Understood. Jason from Melbourne has a lot to say.
He does.
Recently, TNA has signed new talent, creating the potential for dream matches unseen before, something WWE struggles to do. Do you think it would make more sense to have first-time matches like Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles, RVD versus Sting, and a few others with Foley, Angle, etc., to be built up on Impact and then on pay-per-view rather than given away for free on Impact?
Again, he wants to pay for this stuff.
Yeah. A lot of money out there. We're in a recession, I suppose. Apparently not.
That's why
We're all
I
here.
need to go back and change some stuff. You know what? I think that the pay-per-view business, again, is another model that is on its decline. Back in 2002, the pay-per-view business was a $2.2 billion business, and it's not even a fraction of that today. And the MSOs, the Time Warners, the Comcast, the Direct TVs, I mean, these people who have always been in the pay-per-view or television business, they're now becoming, cable. They're giving you your cable service, and they're giving you get your phones through us and all of this other stuff because they're struggling on how to make money. So they have less and less time to devote to pay-per-view, and so it's important for us if we're trying to grow a brand to show stuff not just on pay-per-view but on television.
We're back. You Shoot Live. Very funny. I'm not kidding. I'm going to show Dixie so she can tell you. 10:30, just a minute ago. Look, Bob Ryder is now following us on Twitter.
Yay! Is this on Twitter right
Isn't
now?
that nice? No,
Or is he
we're
following
just
you on Twitter?
the company's on
how
Twitter.
sweet.
All right, Bob. Welcome aboard. How'd that happen? All right. Let's turn it over to our wrestling press. All 2 of you.
There's a lot of us here.
Who's this guy?
I don't know, who
Who
are
invited
you?
the Crypt Keeper? God damn it! That's Ryan Marr's line. I stole
Yes,
it. Remember
you're right,
Ryan?
but it's all right.
Bill Apter, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
The venerable. I always say it that way. Don't
Well,
I?
what does venerable
The
mean?
venerable
No, we
Bill Apter, ladies
Well,
and
thank
gentlemen.
you very much. I appreciate that. Dixie Carter, first of all, congratulations on coming up to 8 years of success.
thank
So
you, Bill.
we want to, I think on behalf of everyone here, we want to thank you for that milestone. And I watch TNA every week, and there are parts of TNA I love, parts of TNA I go like, but I also do that with WWE.
Right.
Same thing. In a 2-hour programming cycle, there can't be 2 hours of everything is always great.